Beautiful day, divine beings. Hi, how are you guys? How's everyone doing? Say my eyes look so little, like I didn't get any sleep last night, but I actually did. I apologize if it's a little dim. It's like my apartment is like the lighting is just kind of dim in here, so I do have my little lamp on over there, but it's like it doesn't put off that much light. So, well, I hope everyone is having a good day. Um, this is just going to be a video that I'm putting together in the place of the one that I did yesterday, because I did one yesterday. I made one yesterday, rather, and I didn't like it. I liked it. I thought it was good, but it didn't go in enough detail and depth like I felt like it should have in order for you guys to have gotten the information. So this is just a replacement of the one I did yesterday, and I don't think anybody, I think one person got around to looking at it, and for the one person that viewed that video, my apologies, because I didn't go in depth the way I wanted to, and I really didn't touch on what I wanted to the way I felt like I should have, so I scrapped it. So I got rid of it, and it's about, I'm wanting to talk about karmic family members and soul family members and the difference between the two. So that's what I wanted to talk about, because I think I said that I was going to talk about this about 2 weeks ago, and I hadn't yet. So now I'm doing that. So I just wanted to, 151 as I said that. So I just wanted to go in and talk about this in a pretty good amount of detail, but also not making the videos too long, because I understand that some people don't have the attention span to sit through a 30-minute or even an hour-long video. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you want the information, you'll listen, and if the person that's, providing the information is providing it to a point where you understand and you feel that it's beneficial for you, then you'll sit and listen to it no matter how long it is. At least that's how I am. If someone is creating content, and first of all, I'm feeling their energy, and I feel that the information that they're providing is, is great, then I'm going to sit through, no matter how long it is. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. But I'm feeling great today. I hope that you guys are feeling great. And if not, you are making the arrangements necessary along your healing journey to get to a place where you are feeling better every day, because this is a process, right? Healing is a process. For those of you that are tuning in to this video and it's your first video on my channel, hi, welcome. I'm January, and I discuss all things healing on this channel. So welcome to the Healing House in January Blue, and if you are back, welcome back. So I hope all is well and everybody is good. And again, if not, I send you lots of hugs, lots of love, and most importantly, lots of healing, right? So let's get into it. So I'm going to be reading from my notes, because I took a lot of notes with this one here. When I go into speaking about different things that I want to discuss, I'm definitely going to go in and I'm going to read them from my beautiful notebooks. I have so many of them. There was one that I saw that I may go and get. I just liked it. I think now I'm starting to like notebooks where they're perforated on the side and I can tear out the pages. Like if I want to create like binders down the road, I started thinking about that, because as I begin to teach more, I think that would be really good, especially if I've got notes about so many different things in the same notebook. And I'm like that. I will utilize, I've learned to start utilizing one notebook for everything, and then just, organizing it later. But anyway, let me stop talking and shut up. So let's get into it. So let's talk about, again, we're talking about karmic family members or relationships versus soul family members or relationships or partnerships. It could be friendships too. So karmic friendships, relationships, and family members, or just, connections in general. So I want to talk about the word karmic, and I want to talk about the word karma and the difference between the two. Let's start there. So karmic pertains to karma, meaning cause and effect. Basically, what goes around comes back around, whether good, bad, or neutral, based on our past actions. Okay? Karma, meaning action or deed. Karmic, meaning universal balance of energy. What you put out into the world is eventually mirrored back to you. Okay, let's talk about good deeds. Good deeds simply means positive outcomes. And then, so if you are being harmful, selfish, and you are making negative choices, that's going to equal negative or challenging outcomes. So good deeds are going to yield positive outcomes, and then harmful, selfish, negative choices are going to yield negative or challenging outcomes. Okay, so this just all kind of ties into karma. Karmic family relationships. Okay, how they make you feel. Okay, let's talk about how they make you feel and how you know that they're karmic. So they will tend to be powerful, magnetic, and as if you have known the person forever. You will have an overwhelming sense of familiarity upon meeting this person or these people. It can be turbulent, emotional roller coasters that will go back and forth as extreme passion and intense conflict. They can be past life related due to unfinished business that are lessons meant to teach us some tough spiritual lessons. Break toxic cycles in order to help you grow as well. Okay, so they also can make you feel like you experience the same conflicts and issues repeatedly, like a loop of breaking up and making up, along with making the same mistakes along the way. The relationship can make you feel as though you can't live without the other person, despite the pain it causes. And it also can feel addictive, and there can be a codependency factor there as well. It can bring your deepest fears, insecurities, and unhealed childhood or past life traumas to light. So have like a mirroring effect. It can bring out the worst in you rather than supporting you. The relationship will also cause you to react, be toxic in your behaviors or defensive in behavior on both sides. Okay, so let's talk about the types of karmic relationships. Let's start with karmic parents. Souls with whom you have a deep past life affinity with. They teach patience, resilience through their parenting styles, and they may teach you self-love, boundaries, and independence. Karmic children. They act as mirrors that teach you unconditional love, responsibility, and how to nurture others. Karmic siblings. People you shared a significant past life with to resolve unfinished business, which often involves intense rivalry or unexplainable magnetic bonds. Okay, let's talk about the ancestors and extended family members. These members form the soul family. Unresolved trauma, dysfunctional roles, or limiting beliefs that are often passed down through generations in the form of energetic blueprints or family karma, providing the whole lineage the opportunity to heal. I'm going to pause here 1 second. So let's talk about soul. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about the interruption. That was my kid. So soul family members. Let's talk about soul family members. So Soul family members are going to be a group of souls who you will share an energetic vibration with. The belief is that these souls incarnate together across multiple lifetimes, frequently swapping roles, such as partners, siblings, parents, or friends, to support, challenge, and teach each other along their spiritual journeys. Okay, so let's talk about how they make you feel. The connection feels magnetic and recognized immediately. You feel like they get you. They can read your mind or finish your sentences. They challenge you to evolve and find true purpose while you do the same for them. Okay, so it's like a supportive connection here. That's what it sounds like with the soul family members. Okay, and let's talk about the different types of soul family members. So let's talk about the soulmates. So soulmate can be a deep, resonant connection that can be romantic, platonic, or familial. Soul companions. Soul companions are supportive relationships that provide comfort and understanding. All right, now let's talk about twin flames. Twin flames are two halves of the same soul, providing intense catalyst for awakening. So those are the different types of soul family connections that I researched and found out about. I do want to go into this a little bit more at some point, talking about the difference between karmic family members and soul family members. But I think this is a good amount of information to just give us a good understanding on the difference between the two. When we are dealing with these different connections, like I was explaining, they teach you. See, that's the key word. They teach. You learn from them these different connections. So, like the karmic side of it, it's going to be more traumatic. It's going to wake us up and teach us what we need to know. It's going to teach harsh lessons. I feel like that is where our journey begins, is with the karmic connections. So they're teaching us what we need to know in order to grow, so that we can make the decision to heal in order to grow, right? Because we need to heal in order to grow and to evolve. Especially if we are seeking, truly trying to find out truly who we are on a soul level. And then just also, evolving in the midst of all of that, in the midst of those heavy transitions, right? So you're starting off, dealing with the karmic connections. You learn your lessons, you pass your tests, then you graduate. Upon graduating, I feel that is when you come into becoming who you are on a soul level. So as you navigate on a soul level to who you truly are and why you were put here in the first place, the purpose or the meaning for your existence here, is you will begin to meet, as you're navigating to your true self and who you really are on the soul level, you'll start to navigate toward these people, or they'll navigate toward you, these people that would be considered your soul family members, the people that understand you, the people that get you, the people that will support you and uplift you, and they want to see you do well. They want to see you shine. They want to assist you in figuring out what your soul purpose is, and you'll do that for one another. So they're totally different dynamics in the means that the karmic side of it teaches you what you need to know in order to be better, or to learn, or to find out truly who you are and why you're here to begin with. And then the soul family members, once you learn, or you are in the process of learning who you are on a soul level, the soul family members, as they begin to trickle in, they will support you along your journey, until you have truly mastered the lessons that you were placed here to learn. But also, as you are evolving, they are supportive of you. They understand you. Whereas your karmic family members or connections, in whatever way they may have been, didn't understand you because they weren't meant to. They were meant to teach, to push you into your purpose, to push you into the person that you were meant to become on a soul level. That's it. So in turn, those karmic connections are temporary. They were not intended to be a part of your life, to stay or to remain for the duration of your journey. Whereas your soul family members, you didn't start out with them either. Some you may have, some we may have that opportunity to have met them in the beginning of our journeys, and they remained with us. So that could be the case for some people. Not the case in my situation. I've had to disconnect from all the karmic connections that I came in contact with from the beginning of my journey. And as my soul started to evolve, the people that were meant for me, my soul family members, they're starting to come in. They're starting to come into my life to be a source of support along my journey. So I'm seeing that that's how this whole thing is coming together, and I'm explaining it just from how I've been seeing it in my own journey. Starting off with the karmics and then ending with the soul family members, because as your soul evolves, your soul is craving, more nourishment, connections that will remain and stay, and they have significance to a point where they will be able to assist you along the rest of your journey, if that's what they're supposed to do, because I feel like the soul family members will remain in your life, and that they're not temporary, because they are going to be with you for the duration of your journey in this walk of life. So those are the different types of, so we went over the different types of karmic connections, and we went over also the different types of soul connections. And so we have officially broken down the difference between karmic connections and soul connections. I will say that from my personal experience, as I am researching all of this information, it makes sense why, the beginning of the journey was so tough in dealing with the karmic, connections, be it they romantic, familial, or just, friendships. I learned so much from them. And I decided to learn from them because I made up my mind, I would say about 3 years ago now, when I started my spiritual journey, that I wanted to evolve. I wanted to go ahead and complete my soul contract. I made a decision, because we have free will, right, to choose to not complete our soul contract or to complete it. And so I've chosen to do so. So while trying to figure out what my purpose was, I said, okay, I continuously kept asking the questions, now that I'm learning what my purpose is, what was the purpose of all of that? What was the purpose of all those different connections? And, what did I learn from them? And as I began to, find a balance emotionally within myself and love myself and set those boundaries, that needed to be set so that I could protect myself, because setting boundaries with, unhealthy connections, it allows you to be able to put up a wall of protection between you and those individuals so that you can continue to heal. You have to place protections securely so that you can heal properly. Because if you're not setting boundaries and saying, hey, I know I need to cut this person off, or I know I can only deal with them once a month, or whatever, what have you, however you're putting that together, in not doing that, you jeopardize your healing process too. And I've said that many times before. But I've learned from my mother specifically, because that connection was very volatile. She was very verbally abusive, mainly just verbally abusive. And so, very aggressive with that behavior. And it's very critical, it was like a love-hate relationship, because one minute it was like, I love you, you're my little girl. She would call me her little girl, even though as old as I am, she would always call me her little girl, but just always very verbally, abusive toward me when she wasn't in that energy, or very just narcissistic in her behavior as well. But using that relationship as an example, and it was just constant. It was just constantly back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There was no happy medium, or there was no, a lengthy amount of time where it was healthy. It just wasn't. It was purely unhealthy because it was just back and forth. So with that specific connection, it taught me self-love. It taught me to, place boundaries. And I placed them successfully because I actually decided that I cannot be in contact with her at all. And not being in contact with her, I have so much joy and peace in my life. And, I can remain focused on whatever it is that I need to do or accomplish in my life. I'm not feeling, beaten down by her words anymore that made me feel worthless at times or lack self-worth. I don't feel that anymore because of that energy that I removed out of my life. And then I wouldn't, because I chose to not keep it around, she wasn't also attacking my kid, and I didn't want him to have to go through what I went through. So I just cut the snake by its head. I just cut that relationship altogether. Now there are no problems. There's no attacking me. And as I'm doing my healing work, I'm not worried about, that being a distraction or an interference in the progress that I want to make. Because if we're keeping these connections and we know that they're not healthy, it stunts our growth. And it just makes it very difficult to be able to evolve. And keeping these connections in whatever way they may be, knowing that we want to find our purpose. We want to get better. We want to heal the wounds that they created, or that were created by generations long ago or lifetimes ago. And if you just happen to be the one that's been, delegated the task to break the cycles, then you have to do what is needed in order to make that a reality, right? So we're going to have to make some crucial decisions and even have some very critical conversations that may completely end, relationships altogether. And a lot of times, like I said, this is going to be with the karmic family members because they teach you what you need to know in order to evolve. I apologize for the background noise. My kid always making a lot of noise. And it's just anytime I'm recording, there's always some kind of noise or distraction. I think I said that yesterday, but I did remove that video because there was a lot of distraction and noise. So I'm just, 252, as I said that. I just don't know what to really, not have a bunch of noise in my background. I just don't even know. It's like I said before, somebody or somebody's doesn't want me to talk about whatever I'm talking about here because it's always a distraction. So I apologize, but I'm sure you guys get it. I'm at home, so it is what it is, and we're going to keep going. But anyway, that's just to explain one connection that was really heavy for me. And as far as swapping roles, because I explained that in one of the definitions, we were talking about swapping roles. What was that? It was talking about soul family members, though, where it can feel like there's a swapping of roles, such as a partner or a sibling or a parent. And I feel like in the case with my mother, that definitely felt like a role swapping situation because I often felt like the mother, whereas I felt like she was my daughter a lot of times because of just the different, I don't know, just the way things felt. Like, I was the one that was more mature in the situation, and she was just like the child, just immature. So I felt like there was a role swapping there with that connection in particular. So, but as far as soul family, I'm not going to stay on, the not so pleasant side of things. Let me talk about the connection that felt like more of a soul family member. That would definitely be my son, who is now pretty much an adult now. That connection feels like a soul family member, definitely, because there is a strong connection there. There's a strong bond there where we are supportive of one another and we encourage one another. There is no tearing each other down or treating each other disrespectfully or anything like that. There's more of a connection there where we are, lifting each other up. And when one is down, the other one is making the effort to raise the other one up. And, we do that for one another. So he feels like, to me, a soul family member. There is someone else that I have in my life, a friend of mine who is near and dear to my heart, where, he feels like a soul family member as well because, I feel like with him, we can talk about so many different things. And, we're encouraging and supportive and uplifting, for one another. There's no being critical of each other. There's no, tearing each other down with words and, being in competition or anything like that. If there's a problem, either on his side or my side, we'll discuss it. We'll talk about it. And, just being supportive of one another, in whatever way that is. So, I feel that that person is a soul family member. So I would say that I have officially 2 soul family members in my life that I'm very grateful for, because after dealing with karmic relationships, it's like a breath of fresh air having a soul family member that you can lean on, that you can depend on, that you feel really connected to. And if you're feeling down, you can go to them, and they really will truly take the time to listen and hear what you have to say. And, your soul just resonates with them. Whereas your karmic connections or family members, relationships, friendships, they don't even have the time to hear what you have to say. There's often an energy of just feeling like they're rushing you, or they don't have time for you, or, they definitely won't understand you. And like I said, it's not their fault. And like I said, if they're treating you badly, they know what they're doing. But again, it's just a lesson that you have to recognize and learn. And they're temporary connections. See what you need to see from what they're trying to teach you. Learn what you need to learn, and move on. And like I said, in a lot of difficult cases, we have to disconnect from these individuals, the karmic ones, altogether. Like I said, in order to grow and in order to evolve, so that your soul family members can come in and take their place. And the soul family members will be there for you, for the duration of your journey, and be a source of support and light for you for the rest of your days, or for the rest of their days, right? So I just wanted to get on here and talk about the difference between the karmic family members and the soul family members. So to sum it all up, the karmic family members, they're going to make you feel uncomfortable. They're going to challenge you. Again, those are temporary connections. And your soul family members, they're going to love you. They're going to see you for who you are. They're going to be a source of support and light for you for the duration of your time while you're on your journey. So that is going to be the difference between the 2. I hope that the information was enough for you guys to understand the difference between karmic connection and a soul connection. Because there are huge, significant differences between the 2. Your soul is going to reject the karmic connections, and your soul is going to resonate and accept the soul connections. So that is going to be the point of all of this. It's going to summarize everything. Okay? But this is what I wanted to talk about yesterday. So like I said, I didn't like what I put together for that. I just want to make sure whatever I put together for you guys, it's helpful, and it's informative. So 343, as I said that. But I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with that. I hope that this was helpful for at least somebody out there. Hope that you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I definitely will. And I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Love, peace, and grace.